dating apps are not the best places to meet girls. Let me give you some secrets in this video about where actually is the new best way to meet girls. You see, the everyday man is going to jump on dating apps because he doesn't know any better, right? And he also doesn't have time, right? That's the problem. The problem is most of us don't have enough time to go and find the woman that we want, to go and find the woman of our dreams, to go and find a girlfriend, to go and get laid, to go and sleep with, to go and sleep with beautiful women. There are some horrid, scary statistics about how the modern man is struggling to get laid. I mean, there's a crazy stat like 50% of boys 18 to 24 haven't been laid in the last 6 months. These stats are insane, by the way. And what's happening is that the small majority of men, okay, the top 1% sitting at the top are the ones getting all the are the ones getting all the action. Okay, so the top 1%, the guys that make the most money, that have a bit of time, that hang out in the coolest places, the social clubs, the cool gyms that are expensive, they're the ones that are actually getting the results, right? So, which leaves the rest of the 99% to be scrounging and paying girls on OnlyFans. I mean, how terrible is that? Paying girls on OnlyFans to look at their feet, to look at them naked, to ask them to put a cucumber up there, whatever. It's madness. The reason why these girls are making so much money on OnlyFans, including AI models on OnlyFans, is because we've got so many men that are horny, not getting laid, addicted to dopamine, and paying these girls off to see some naked body parts once in a while. Isn't that just insane? Isn't it crazy what's happened to the modern world? Aren't you just completely shocked by that? I am. I'm baffled. I'm sickened by it as well. So if you think that, you're going to jump on dating apps and you're going to get huge success, you'd actually be wrong unless you're an extremely good looking guy, unless you've got very well-versed photos, okay? So I know a couple of guys who do well on dating apps because their photos are extremely refined. Okay, they've got like really good pictures and they've like spent weeks, months getting the perfect picture, the perfect angle. They've even paid photographers to take these pictures and stick it on their Hinge, Bumble, Tinder. And they've also got this like perfect array of photos, like the one headshot, and then they've got one with a dog, and then they've got one with their friends, and then they've got one with like other girls just to show social impact, social status. And also, when you have a picture of you with other girls and like a bunch of other girls, you show that you're accepted by other women, okay? So that makes women more attracted to you. Same reason as if you walk into a bar with 5 girls, you're going to do pretty well in that bar with any other girl sitting in that bar because she's going to look over you and she's going to look around you and be like, you've already been recognized and accepted by these other women. So you're no threat to me. So she'll feel comfortable actually with you. So, unless you are implementing all of those things on a dating app, the other way to get beautiful women, and let me give you an example of what happened today as I was walking around Budapest, going to buy myself a microphone. It's -6, it was freezing. I was walking through and this girl came out of the train station and she looked over at me a couple of times, actually. Now, I highly recommend when you're on the street, if you're single and you catch eyes with a girl and she holds her stare or she looks at you a couple of times, you should walk over. There is absolutely nothing wrong with men approaching women on the street, as long as it's done in a coherent, gentlemanly, well-mannered way, okay? If you can actually pull that off, you're going to get massive success with women on the street with cold approach, okay? Cold approach is a kind of pickup artist terminology whereby you're literally walking up to someone on the street. They know nothing about you. This is not a warm lead. This is a completely cold lead. You've never seen this person before, and you have to make an introduction, approach, and warm them up to you, okay, and then leave with a phone number, or maybe even bring them back to yours, or buy them a coffee, whatever it is that you want to do post conversation, post approach. So the best thing, if someone looks at you on the street, holds their stare a little bit long, or gives you a couple of looks, you need to be aware enough. And in that situation I was. So when I looked over, I saw this girl look twice. She looked over, we caught eye, then I looked away. Then as I walked along, I looked again, and she was looking again. And I said, I gotta do this. And it was like a 3-second rule. Okay, I counted to 3. I was like, 1, 2, 3, go. Just had to go. You know, and the 3-second rule is something I really love using as a great tactic to just get over the nervousness in that scenario. So I ended up walking up to her, and I actually said, as I walked up to her, I kind of walked in her way. So she was coming this way, and I like got in her way, and I was like, excuse me, really sorry to disturb you. I know you've got other things to do today. I just wanted to say, you're exactly my type, and I just thought you were gorgeous, and I wanted to say hello. What's wrong with that? That is a beautiful approach. No woman is going to be like, oh, get away from me, you freak. Women are not going to say that, because you're not approaching in a horrible manner. You're approaching very softly. You're being kind. You're being polite. You're not being invasive. You're keeping your distance. Don't stand too close to her. Keep a nice distance, you know, of at least 1 meter. You don't want to like come up to her face and say that, because then you're a weirdo. So there are definitely ways that you could pull this off. So anyway, after I said that, she was like, oh, that's really cute, but I'm 10-year engaged. And she had a little ring on her finger. And she was like, is that your style as well? So she laughed back at me actually and made a joke, which showed that she was interested to have a conversation, showed that she was actually interested to engage with me rather than, sorry, I'm busy, goodbye. You'll know very quickly if a girl is not interested in you. So she engaged with me, and that was really interesting. You know, she was like, oh, I'm engaged. Is that also your style? And I was like, that's really funny. You know, I hope it's going well. How long's it been? And she was like, oh, it's been like 10 years. I was like, okay, that's great. I was like, look, well, you know, that's not really my style, actually. I'm not going to continue this conversation. I wish you the best of luck. He's a very lucky man. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I walked off gracefully, and she was like, oh, okay, thank you. And that's it. That interaction right there sets me up for the rest of the day to be able to interact with any other woman or any other person, because I know now just opening up the conversation with someone really isn't that difficult. And when you learn how to do things in a polite, well-mannered way, you won't get girls scared of you and saying like crazy stuff to you. You won't get like, oh, get away from me, you freak. The only time girls say stuff like that is when they feel intimidated and threatened by the guy's approach. And most guys have a pretty poor approach, to be completely honest. If you just walk over calmly and in a well-mannered way, I assure you, you will get a positive response, or you will get a positive or a polite rejection. Okay, the key is here that if you're not going to get the most positive response, that you actually get a polite rejection. Okay, so you could walk up to the girl on the street. You could walk up to the girl. Coffee shops are a great place, by the way. Coffee shops are a fantastic, comfortable place. Everyone's got their guard down. They're kind of just sitting there, sipping on the coffee, whatever they're getting up to. You know, I find coffee shops great. Restaurants are a bit more difficult, actually. It's a bit awkward in a restaurant. Personally, when you've been a veteran at this, then like myself, then I don't care where it is. I'll walk up to a girl anywhere, to be honest. But that's when you have a sort of expert level of confidence and you really do not care where you approach them. I mean, once I approached a girl on the London Underground, actually, and that's a very awkward place because everyone's listening to your conversation. It's a super strange place to strike up a combo. But I ended up doing so, and she ended up giving me her number, and then we went on a date. It's crazy. Like, that's just how it works. So the braver you are, the more courageous you are, the less you're scared of rejection, the better your results will actually be. Okay? So you could sit there on dating apps, and I've got good success and good number of matches on Tinder at the moment, because my photos are well refined. I've taken some great photos of me on the beach with my body, with my six-pack out. So that's quite, that was helpful. A couple of pictures with me dressed quite nicely in a suit, like well-fashioned, looking smart. And that seems to get pique girls' interest. And I've also got a good picture and a good headshot with good lighting. It's a great picture of me. If I was to just take a picture of myself right now as a headshot I wouldn't want to post that because it just wouldn't be as refined, okay? So I also still actually perform pretty well on online dating. However, the best girls I have actually found are on the street, in bars, in coffee shops. And here's the reason why. It's because you actually get to see them during the day. You get to see what they actually look like. With online dating, it's all become a bit of a facade. You don't actually know what anybody really looks like. And there's been so many times I've been disappointed when I went on the date. I was like, what? This girl doesn't look like her pictures. And of course she doesn't, because she's trying to portray the best version of herself. And the girl might say the same thing about me. She might say, this guy doesn't look like this. You know, this guy, well, his pictures are much better than how he looks today. He was nicely tanned in Miami. Now he's in Budapest without the tan. He's not looking as slick, whatever. Maybe his haircut's different. Whatever it is, the reason why the best place to actually meet the woman of your dreams is not necessarily online is because you don't really know what she looks like until you meet up with her. You could waste a hell of a lot of time on online dating. So as much as, I do believe in some of the apps, I do believe they work. However, I also believe in being brave enough to approach women in many other scenarios. Like I say, the street, a dog park. If you have a dog, that's a fantastic place to meet a woman. A coffee shop is a great place to meet a woman. A gym is a little bit more challenging. I would, the expert level guys, I still talk to girls in the gym and still get phone numbers in the gym. You need a certain level of confidence, and you need something that you both, a similar situation where, for example, she's using a machine, you're using a machine, she asked if she could use it, and you'll be like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then, the things you could say is stuff like, hey, I see you using that machine. I've never seen anyone use it in that way. Like, what muscle groups are you actually working? It's so easy to break the ice, guys. Breaking the ice is the easiest thing ever if you've got the confidence. You don't have to say anything spectacular. You can keep it very, very simple. So, you go in there, you break the ice, and then you just have a calm conversation. And also, don't think too much and try to get the phone number or the contact details quite early. Be like, okay, if you say, oh, what muscle groups you work in? If she's like, oh, it works out the shoulders and it's really good for this and this and this. You're like, oh, that's great, that's brilliant. You're like, you know what? I'm going to need some tips off someone like you. You really seem like you know what you're doing. Can I drop you a message one time and you could sort of talk me through some of the things you're doing to get into the shape you're in? Is that okay? And then she'll be like, yeah, sure. Or she'll be like, no, I've got a boyfriend, or no, I'm not interested in that. Look, you could get any response from a woman. It's better than getting no response on Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, okay? On Bumble, you're waiting for the woman to message you. Imagine that. On Tinder, you're waiting for the woman to respond to you. Hinge, I find, is much better for dating. I actually feel like people are actually more serious on Hinge, so they're more likely to respond to you. There's also an older crowd as well that are more willing to meet someone. But ultimately, if you're getting an immediate response from people if you're cold approaching on the street or in the gym or in a coffee shop. And guys, let me just reiterate, if the response is negative, it's honestly okay. You're not expected to be a superstar. You're not expected to walk up to someone and just get their number and bed them in the same day. It's honestly okay if you fail and it doesn't work out for you. I'm being really serious. The more you can accept the rejections, the more you will realize that, this game will reward the people who are resilient. I've had thousands upon thousands of rejections, but that's resulted in me sleeping with over a couple of hundred women. I don't know the exact number now, but it's over that figure, and dated hundreds of beautiful women and had 5 or 6 cracking girlfriends, 8 out of 10. I want to post a picture of them all over my Instagram. That would be a little bit weird if I did that, so I'm not going to. But all my girlfriends have been 8 out of 10 crackers, and the reason why is because I've accepted that rejection is just part and parcel of the world. I've accepted that failing in business is also part and parcel of the world. It's fine to fail in business. It's fine to fail approaching a beautiful woman. It's honestly okay. It's just better that you get the practice in. So, fear not. There are great ways to meet people if you're not getting matches online. You can definitely approach them in these scenarios. But again, just remember, be well-mannered, be polite. Don't be overbearing. Don't stand too close to them. Don't walk up to a girl and be like, hey, you know, you're amazing and I want your phone number. That's just too direct. Be a bit more graceful. So once a girl actually taught me to walk up to a woman and say, hey, I just wanted to say I think you're beautiful and I wanted to get your phone number and see if I could take you out for a coffee or a drink one day and get to know you a bit better. How does that sound? That's so much nicer. You're not being invasive, you're not being too intrusive, you're actually being calm, collected, and you're giving her the chance to say no, and you're also giving her the chance to invite you and be like, yeah, sure, that sounds good, why not? She might in that split second just decide that she wants to give you her number, or she might in that split second just be like, not interested. She could give you a fake number, or she could say, oh, sorry, I've got a boyfriend. That's what a lot of girls tend to do, okay? Just to not like let you down, just so she can get out of the situation much easier. You have to think about it from a girl's perspective, okay? It's awkward for her. So you know, if you approach her in that nice, well-mannered, polite way, you will get a polite rejection or you will get her phone number. I assure you. Now, if you're not the best looking guy in the world, if you're sort of, you know, sub 5, 4 out of 10 looking guy, 3 out of 10 looking guy, I sympathize with you. It definitely isn't easy. And in that instance, you know, you'd want to work on your looks. You'd want to work on your attraction. You'd want to work on your body. You'd want to work on your accessories. You'd want to work on your approach, your general style. You know, I find certain men have really great styles that they're very hard to turn down. You might not be the best looking guy in the world, but you're wearing like a super cool, stylish jacket. You've got some cool glasses. You've got some accessories. You look like a bit of a somebody, you know, and then she'll be like, okay, I'm intrigued to find out more about this guy. Okay, so there are many different methods to pick up beautiful women, which isn't necessarily by going online and by swiping on dating apps. I look forward to making much more content about this kind of stuff. I really enjoy this. This is like a massive passion of mine. And, you know, the reason why I've been able to be successful with beautiful women is because I'm brave enough to approach them in any scenario. And one day you will also get there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it with someone who you know is struggling on the dating apps and needs this kind of advice to find his woman or his girlfriend. And please subscribe to the channel because there'll be a lot more of this content coming up. And I love making this content and this is completely natural to me. And eventually how it will evolve is I'll probably end up doing cold approaches on the street. I actually bought a microphone today so that I could do these things, get my friends to kind of film me approaching girls on the street just to show you how it actually works and to show you sort of my skills and what I would say and what I would do and any objection handling. You know, if she was like, oh, get away from me, you know, just always be graceful in defeat. That's one thing I would say. Be graceful in defeat. When the girl told me she's been engaged for 10 years, I said, you know what, he's a lucky man. You know, I wish you the best of luck. That's not really my style. You know, have a wonderful day. Be graceful in defeat, walk away, and your rewards will come back to you again in the future. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.